Hey guys, it's Kevin here for the season premiere of Penny Dreadful, Season 2, Episode 1, Fresh Hell. Now, I know this episode hasn't officially aired yet, but Showtime did put up the premiere for free. So, if you guys really do want to see it, there will be spoilers in this review. But I could not wait for this premiere, guys. Honestly, I was hyping up this premiere. You guys know how much I love Penny Dreadful. It was one of my favorite shows of last year. I think it was a show that was consistently got better and better as it went on. It never had a bad episode. In fact, I bought the first season on DVD. Yeah, it's a little bit damaged, but yeah, that's how much I love the show. So I was definitely looking forward to this season. I saw they were going in a much different direction. I also really didn't know what was going to happen this season because last season kind of ended on sort of like a period of like what's going to happen now, and I gotta say this. I can already tell this season is gonna be 10 times better than season 1. This premiere honestly was extremely creepy and had some moments that were extremely very creepy. A lot of things to talk about. And again, if you guys have not seen the premiere, go watch it or wait till 10 o'clock tonight. And yeah, I was gonna wait to put this up till 10 o'clock as like a scheduled video, but I'm not gonna do that. Let's get in this episode because it was amazing. So we start off with Vanessa and it started off very creepy, which I love. And Vanessa's walking the park and she looks at children playing, and we see Evelyn Poole, or Madame Collie, who I forgot who she was. She was the seance in the second episode where Vanessa was possessed in the second episode seance. Well, she has a much bigger role this year, which is awesome because she honestly is a very creepy actress and she's awesome, I have to say. So she's muttering a phrase in Latin, and Vanessa abruptly comes to a halt and looks around as she hears Evelyn's voice echo in the trees around her. And overall, my visions of using her own blood to cast a spell on burning flames, Vanessa drops to her knees, and when a couple comes over to investigate, Vanessa gestures them away and tries to regain control of herself. And I thought that was a amazing way to start the episode. Already very creepy, we don't know what's going on, and it made us extremely intrigued, which I thought was perfect, and it really made us, remember how creepy the show is, which was great. So, Ethan wakes up in the Mariner's Inn after probably turning into a werewolf, because as we know, he is now the wolfman, and he's covered in blood and surrounded by corpses, and basically, that night, Vanessa arrives at Malcolm's house, and Ethan grabs her and says that he has to talk to her outside. Also, there's no Dory in this episode, which I find kind of interesting, because the first episode of the show, there was no Dory, and then Dory wasn't introduced till episode 2, so I'm assuming they're going to do the same thing this season, which is honestly pretty cool if they do that. So, basically, they have the carriage driver take him on a random tour, and Ethan says that he's leaving London, and she's wondering why, and Ethan says that he's not what she thinks he is. So basically, he feels that he is too dangerous to stay in London, and one of the themes that the entire cast said the show is going to deal with is that they are kind of turning into their own monsters, and kind of have to deal with, are they monsters, really, or are they just, human beings turning into monsters, and basically, he doesn't want to hurt any of their friends, and plans to find a war somewhere to fight in. And I like seeing that Ethan does want to get away from this. He knows that something is wrong, and I think it's really well done because a lot of times on other horror shows, what they do is if a character was like this, they just say, but Ethan knows there's something going on with him, and I definitely really love that. So Vanessa warns that they haven't won the war against their supernatural opponents, only a battle, which, yeah, I mean, the Mina thing, it was a big thing, but it was sort of just like a small thing, so I like that she said they haven't won the war, because no, they haven't. There's still bigger enemies out there, and especially showing this season, there are definitely still bigger enemies out there, and Ethan warns that sometimes he has blackouts and he wakes up in blood, and when she asks how she can help, Ethan says that a person can't change who they are no matter who they save or who they love. And I kind of agree with him on that. I mean, yeah, you can change your personality, but you can never change who you are. Like, who you are is who you are, and Ethan knows that he can't change who he is. I mean, now that he is the Wolfman, that's something that he can't change. He's going to have to deal with this for the rest of his life. And I like seeing that. I thought that was really well done, and I thought that was a perfect way to start the episode, definitely. So a carriage jerks to a halt, and the driver screams at Aggie, and this naked, bald female covered in scars leaps in the carriage, slashes at Vanessa, tries to yank her out, and it's a crazy scene, I have to say. Ethan fights her off, and this was a genuinely creepy scene. Another female bursts in through the door opposite. Vanessa kicks it out, but the third one breaks through the rear window and grabs her. Ethan shoves the opponent down, then Vanessa as well, and the creature overturns the carriage. When Vanessa looks out, one of the women prepare to grab her, and Vanessa chants something in a demonic language, and the creature hastily retreats. So, luckily, she was able to do something there. Now, if you do remember, in Season 1, we did see that whole scene where we found out that Vanessa's not normal, and definitely, I think they're hinting that she is definitely has, still that seance, and she can still be possessed and things like that. We still see that can happen. So, Ethan helps Vanessa out, and they discover that the driver and the horses are torn apart, and the three creatures watch from the shadows, and then materialize clothes around them and walk away. So, I thought that was a really good way to start the episode, definitely. So, meanwhile, at his lab, Victor completes his work on Brona's body. If you remember from Season 1, Caliban wants Victor to turn Brona into basically the bride of Frankenstein, because, Caliban's Frankenstein, so Brona's gonna be the bride of Frankenstein. I really like seeing that happening in this episode. So, he lowers her into the vat and tells Caliban that they have to wait for a storm. Most annoying thing about this episode is that was an edited version. I mean, whatever, but just that was kind of annoying. Victor admits that he doesn't know if Brona will remember what happened to her, and Caliban says that he has to go find work, but assures his creator that will never be far from him. And I love that scene because, yeah, it is true. I mean, you can't have Victor without Caliban, and I like that, Victor's saying that he doesn't know if he should do this, and I just thought that was really well done. Victor wonders if Caliban will leave him for good once Brona's his bride, and Caliban says that they have a bond together, and he is part of Victor's soul. That's part of the Frankenstein story. Frankenstein and the creature are like buddies. They need to stay together, and they're not gonna, leave. And I like seeing that Caliban is telling, Victor that I'll still be here. I'm not gonna leave you, and I thought that was awesome. So, Ethan and Vanessa return to Malcolm's house, and Ethan tells Bean to stay with Vanessa, and he then asks Vanessa how she knew them, but she angrily says that he was going to leave and tells him to do so. So, she insists that they weren't trying to kill her, or she'd already be dead. Now, I'm just thinking, okay, well, they were kind of trying to kill you, so you don't exactly know what you're talking about. So, basically, Ethan says that he'll come back the next day when Malcolm returns and leaves, and Bean then provides Vanessa with a blanket, and she asks him if he believes the past can return. And I love this line that he says here. He says, the past can never leave them. The past never leaves them. And Vanessa shudders in horror at this thought because she knows what her past has been like. And she does not want to repeat the past. She wants to fix things. And she knows that she can. And she's terrified think about Possession. Think about episodes like that. That really is what that line made me think of. It made me think of episodes like Possession when she was possessed and everything. That could come back to haunt her. And she's very worried that that's going to come back to haunt her, which I think was definitely a very well done scene. So, outside, Ethan leans against a wall in the snow. One of the women from the carriage watch him from above, and basically, we see that, definitely, I was wondering if maybe they were going to see him I was wondering if we were going to see a transformation scene, but we still don't get that yet. I know we're going to get that. Did we get that in the mid-season finale? I don't know. It's been a while since I've seen it. I need to rewatch the first season. I really do. But the next day, Malcolm and his wife Gladys bury Mina, and Malcolm suggests that he abandon their house in London and come home. Now, people were complaining that Vanessa did not go to Mina's funeral. I think she did that because she wanted to be away from all the Mina drama. She doesn't want to have to deal with it anymore. I think that's why she is staying away from Mina. So Gladys says that she was never happy with him, and she says that they shall remain married to maintain a modicum of decency, but she'll live there alone and doesn't care what Malcolm does. So when Malcolm says that he tried his best to save Mina, Gladys tells him that they will have no more children for him to save or kill. So, basically, I thought that was definitely a very good line. You see the pain that Malcolm's going through. He doesn't want to do this, but he knows he has to. And I thought that was really sad, definitely. Definitely one of the saddest scenes of the episode. So Caliban walks the streets to find a job, but because, of course, he can't work in that theater anymore because the theater's, burnt down and is destroyed and he can't be there anymore. So there are no jobs to be found. And he comes to Putney's Family Waxworks and notices a sign offering employment opportunities. And Caliban goes inside and finds his way to the Chamber of Grotesqueries, and the owner, Oscar, is working on a statue and admits that he forgot putting the employment notice up. And Oscar warns that he can't pay Caliban much and shows him to the Chamber of Crime. The owner explains he's preparing a number of homicide scenes, and he needs help with the tabules as well as the standard custodial work. So Caliban gladly accepts, and Oscar says that he will have to meet his wife and daughter first, and he assures him that his new employee, that his strange appearance won't be a concern, and invites him back at 7 this evening. And so I'm like, okay, that's kind of interesting, because of course we know Caliban has like the scars on his face, but he's saying that this new employee he's not going to have a problem with. So Oscar shows Caliban his reconstruction of the newest homicide, the Mariners Inn massacre. So at the Mariners Inn, we actually see Inspector Bartholomew Rusk look over the scene of the massacre, who's going to have a much bigger role this year, which I like, definitely. And when the broker says that Galsworthy told them they could get it back, Rusk informs him that Galsworthy has been replaced, and the broker explains that the owner's place is to build tenement blocks, and Rusk laments the lack of wood, and when the broker asks if it's similar to the Spitalfield murders, Bartholomew says that they're different because the killer left a survivor. I believe that is the character that's getting an expanded role. Let me look that up real quickly. I think I'm talking about the right person. Let me look. No, I'm not talking about the right person. I'm thinking of Ferdinand. I'm thinking of Ferdinand Lyle, who I don't know. I don't think we saw in this episode, but we'll get to him. So in her room, Vanessa looks at the window at night, approaches, and downstairs Ethan arrives, and Sabine tells him that Vanessa didn't leave her room, and Ethan admits that he's never seen Vanessa before until now. And I thought that was a really well done scene, because no, we haven't really seen Vanessa afraid. I mean, who would have thought Vanessa was really afraid? She's such a strong woman. It seems like nothing scares her. But the thing about the show is that they don't portray these people as just, monsters. They portray them as human beings, and Vanessa is no exception. She is a human being, and while, she does have these powers, and, she can get possessed very easily, she is a human being, and Ethan needs to understand that. I thought that was definitely a very well done scene, and I definitely feel like this season definitely going to touch upon them being human beings, and can they still be human beings. So Victor's working in his lab when he hears a noise from the vat, and he goes over and wonders what Brona's new life will be like. He doesn't really know what's going to happen to her. There could be a million things, he's wondering if she'll know love, and if she doesn't, then what's going to happen? I mean, basically, Victor traces the scar on her chest, and then strokes her breast, then hastily pulls his hand away as someone knocks at the door, and it's Sabine. And he tells Victor that he's required and advises him to bring his courage. So that night, Caliban returns to Waxworks, and we find out why Oscar said, he'd be fine introducing him to his wife. He introduces him to his wife, Octavia. She tells Caliban the hours and the pay, and he accepts, and Caliban gives his name as John Clare, which I'm wondering if it is his real name. I'm not really sure. Once he signs the Putneys call on their daughter, Lavina, she comes in, asks to touch Caliban's face, and he realizes, now at first he's like, this is not a face to be touched, don't touch my face. He quickly realizes that she's blind, and that's why she's not going to have a problem with seeing Caliban. So you can see that Caliban's a little bit worried because of the scars. He's worried that he might freak her out, and it's a very well done scene, I have to say. Caliban reluctantly agrees, and Lavina traces the scars on his face, and Oscar as Lavina show Caliban out, and then Octavia asks her husband what he's thinking. He snaps her to be quiet and says that Caliban's face will make their fortune. So definitely we see that Caliban is definitely going to be a problem for them, and I'm wondering if if Oscar's actually going to work with Caliban, because it definitely seems like all Oscar wants to, but Octavia's like, well, his face is weird and everything, and I can understand what she's saying, but it's probably the best thing to work with him. So at Malcolm's house, Vanessa waits for Malcolm to return, and when he does, she runs to his embrace, and Ethan tells Malcolm what they encountered, and Vanessa explains that the scars were the devil's mark, and those who serve the demon are marked to indicate their obedience. And she warns that they're not the vampires that they faced before. Because, last season was more about vampires, and now they have these witches. So Victor confirms that Vanessa's okay, but advises her to get some rest, and she tells them that the language the witches spoke was the verbus diablo, the word of the devil, which, of course, that could be very bad for Vanessa because she'd get possessed by the devil, and Ethan describes a biblical legend, and Victor insists that it's a myth, but the American points out that the witches weren't myths, so this very well could be true. There definitely are witches out there, and it's not a myth. I thought that was really interesting. So Vanessa tells Malcolm that she doesn't know what the witch said to her, and the words she said in response came to her on instinct, and she doesn't know what they meant. Malcolm says that they should start by deciphering the language so they can protect Vanessa. So that way they know the language. That way everything's, Vanessa's okay and she's not going to get possessed. But she insists that they can't protect her, and it's her fight alone, and Ethan and Malcolm refuse to abandon her, and Sabine realizes that Vanessa knew the witches, and she says they're nightcomers. And then we get probably the best introduction of a villain I've seen in a while. Honestly, this should have been Evelyn's introduction. It's the same scene where we see her sing that really creepy song in the bathtub like we saw in that promo. It's just as creepy as it was on the promo. It was an amazing scene, and right away you just get so feared by this character, honestly. I'm just like, she is extremely creepy, and this drained corpse lies in its face, and who would have thought this woman that was a seance in episode 2 would be so fucking creepy? Like, she really was very creepy, and basically, she says she's disappointed at the outcome of the attack on Ethan and Vanessa, and we very quickly see that she illustrated the attack, and she goes to see her daughter, Kate, who also, and 3 other witches, and admits that she has overestimated their power, and Kate warns that Vanessa has a protector, Lubis D, and he's powerful, and basically, since she has that protector, it's not exactly going to work like they plan. So Evelyn tells Kate to deal with Ethan while she handles Vanessa, and Evelyn plans to entice Malcolm and promises that the master will receive his prize. So one of the witches, the one that confronted Vanessa, asks for another chance, says that Vanessa spoke the language, however she couldn't make out what she said. And Evelyn tells her that the fault is the witches, and then explains room is filled with memento mori, tokens of death, and she explains about how the Roman generals kept a slave with them to remind them that they were mortal, and then cuts the witch's throat with a spiked ring, and as Evelyn's orders, the other 2 witches take the corpse away, and that was so creepy, I have to say. That right there makes us feared of Evelyn, and I love that. I mean, some people said that Mina wasn't really a creepy villain, so I really think they're doing a very good job with Evelyn. I mean, I feared her the second she came on screen, and that's awesome, because she is the villain here, and I can already tell she's going to be an awesome villain. So, after Vanessa goes to her room, Ethan tells Malcolm that she's seen the look in her eyes before, and in Soldiers after a battle, that's basically how he's seen the look, and he figures that Vanessa will talk to them in her own time, and until then, he'll remain in London, and stay in a guest room at Malcolm's house. My only concern here is I'm worried that Ethan's not going to be able to control when he turns into, you know, the Wolfman, and of course, he's going to have to control that as best as he can. And basically, he's going to try to help her out, definitely. You can tell that he definitely wants to help her out, and I like seeing that, definitely. And I do like that you said that Vanessa will talk to them when she's ready, because it's true. She'll talk to them when she's ready. She just doesn't really want to talk about it right now, and she's just kind of scared. You know, she doesn't really know what this language means, and she knows what happened to her with the possession before, so she doesn't want a repeat of that, and I love seeing that. I thought that was definitely very well done. I'm just very worried that what happened to Ethan, you know, with him turning into, you know, with everything that happened to Ethan in, you know, with him turning into a werewolf, I don't know if he'll be able to control that, but we'll see. So a storm gathers overhead. Victor goes to the lab where Caliban is waiting. The scientist tells Caliban to make ready, and Caliban follows his creator's commands, and he raises the main conductor, and lightning strikes it as both men scream to the heavens. The shock throws Caliban back from the vat, and it's such an awesome scene, honestly. This reminds you of, like, classic Frankenstein movies, and these are reasons why I watch this show. Not just for the characters, I mean, I love the characters, but moments like this, I mean, this is why this show is so good. And Victor shuts down the circus, and after a moment, Brona rises from the water shivering, and we don't know how she's gonna be. I mean, definitely, we don't know how she's gonna react to this. I don't know what's gonna happen with Brona, but that, I thought, was an awesome way to get us reintroduced to Brona, and it was awesome, I have to say. Definitely, I love that. So, my biggest question here is, what is actually gonna happen with Brona? Is she gonna be human? Is she gonna, you know, be able to fall in love? Is she gonna be like Victor, where she can't, you know, is she gonna be what Victor thinks, is that she can't fall in love? Is that gonna happen? I mean, there are a million possibilities of things that can happen here, and I'm very interested in seeing what's actually gonna happen. So in her room, Vanessa stares at the crucifix mounted on the wall, and she notices Ethan in the hallway looking at her, and stares back until he walks away, and Vanessa closes the door, puts 2 candles on the floor, takes a knife out of her drawer, and she cuts her finger and draws a symbol on the floor. And once she's done, Vanessa hears voices chanting in the darkness. She claps her hands and turns to the crucifix, praying in Latin. It's a very creepy scene, a very eerie scene. And in her chambers, we see Evelyn doing the same exact thing. She's pricking her finger and draws an inverted cross in her forehead in blood. She then prays to Lucifer, who, of course, Lucifer is the devil, so you know right there this woman is bad. And she's promising that she has found Vanessa and will assault her soul day and night, and assure her nothing but suffering. And we now know what she wants to do. She now wants to take over Vanessa's soul and basically possess her, and Vanessa prays, her blood flowing down her hands as the lightning flashes, the witches appear in the room behind her, and when Vanessa turns, there's no one there, and that's how the episode ends. So, wow, what an amazing premiere this was. What a great way to start off the season. I mean, there's a lot to definitely talk about. First of all, I have to give it up to Helen McCrory as Evelyn. I mean, She is killing it, honestly. This was the perfect way to get us reintroduced to her character and make us fearful of her character. I am terrified of her character right now, and that's awesome how terrified I am of her character. She honestly is a very creepy character. I think she's doing a very good job playing this role, definitely. These are reasons why I watched this show. And while I don't think we had a very, like, intimidating villain in season 1, we did have some very scary moments. But this already looks like it's going to be a much darker, scarier season, which I'm definitely looking forward to. Now, let's talk about what her actual plan is here. I feel like Vanessa's going to end up accidentally selling her soul to the devil, and I really hope that doesn't happen, because as we know, Evelyn is talking to the devil, and she wants to summon the devils, and obviously she said what you want Vanessa to do, she'll do. So, is she going to somehow end up selling her soul to the devil? I really hope that does not happen, but we'll see what happens. I mean, I'm definitely very worried for Vanessa, but I guess we'll have to see what ends up happening there. Now, as far as it goes, you know, what else does Evelyn really want to do to Vanessa? You know, I'm not really sure what she wants here. Does she want to weaken her? It seems like she just wants her to get possessed and take her soul, but why does she want to take her soul? Like, what's her real mission here? I guess we'll have to see. Let's talk about Brona. How is Brona going to be now that she is the bride of Frankenstein? I'm not really sure what's going to happen to her. I mean, I guess we'll have to see in the next episode how she reacts to meeting Caliban. Is she gonna fall in love with Caliban? And this could backfire and she could end up falling in love with Victor, not Caliban. I mean, no one said that what happens with her is exactly how it's gonna work out, you know? No one said that this is fully gonna work out, and I'm kind of worried that it's not gonna work out, but I guess we'll have to see what happens there. I mean, that's gonna be very interesting to see how that all turns out with, you know, her and Caliban. I'm very interested in seeing what's gonna happen between the two of them. As far as Ethan goes, Ethan, I'm happy that he's staying for Vanessa, but I'm just worried that he is not going to be able to control the true demon that he is becoming. And I don't think he realizes the demon that he's becoming. I don't think he truly realizes that yet, and I'm interested in seeing if he does realize that, because that's going to be very interesting to see what ends up happening. Okay, Caliban's new work that he's working at, is this going to work out successfully for him? Are they actually going to help him? You know, is Oscar, do you really think he wants him there? Or is he going to listen to Octavia's advice and try to get Caliban gone? I mean, Caliban, who knows what's going to happen to Caliban? I'm very worried for what's going to happen to him. I guess we'll have to see. But, it's going to be really interesting to see what ends up happening there. What's gonna happen with, you know, Ethan's, you know, whole thing with him becoming this murderer? I mean, we know he's murdering people, so is he gonna keep murdering people? Is this gonna happen? I mean, I'm very worried for what could definitely happen to Ethan. Definitely some things that I'm worried about. But overall, guys, was an amazing premiere. I absolutely loved this premiere. I think this is going to be a better season than season 1, personally. I know a lot of people actually didn't like this show, which I'm kind of surprised about. A lot of people said that they rushed the first season. But again, guys, I mean, the reason they rushed it is because we really want to see another season focused around Mina's possession. I don't really think we'd want to. This is a lot more interesting because now we have these witches that want to take her soul, and these are also people that she knows. She knows the seance. She's worked with them before. She knows the repercussions of what could happen to her. She doesn't want, you know, what happened to her to happen again, which I love seeing Vanessa, you know, try and do whatever she can to make sure that she doesn't get possessed again. Is Vanessa going to get possessed again? That's something else that I'm wondering about. Also, Ferdinand Lyle, we are going to meet him. He's going to become a much bigger role this season, so I'm wondering what he's going to do. I mean, I guess we'll see, but, I just can't get over how good Helen McCrory is as Evelyn. Honestly, she is probably going to become one of the best actresses on this show. She is going to make this show even more amazing than it is, which is awesome. We don't really have a huge role for Malcolm this season, but I guess we'll have to see what happens. Also, are Malcolm and Victor and Ethan going to be able to protect Vanessa from getting possessed, or is she going to get possessed by again, and they're going to have to stop it again? Is this going to be like a repeat of season 1? Which, if it is, I mean, it's not going to feel like a repeat. It's going to feel like, well, this could happen to her again. I'm wondering if they're going to be able to protect her. But knowing how powerful Evelyn is, I don't know if they're going to be able to really protect Vanessa. I guess we'll have to see if they are able to protect her. I want them to be able to, but who knows? I mean, maybe they won't be able to. I guess we'll have to see what happens. But that's basically my review. Hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know what you guys thought of this premiere. Overall, guys, I am so happy this show is back. Honestly, so happy it's back. I have been waiting for Penny Dreadful to come back. I've been waiting to review it again. I was planning on reviewing this premiere like weeks ago, but I'm like, you know what? I'll just wait till on the Sunday when it airs, and Again, if you guys haven't seen it, watch it at 10 o'clock, or I might leave the YouTube link below. I'm not sure. We'll see. Yeah, probably I'll leave the link below for it, but we'll see. But that's it in my review. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys in my next video, which will be my review for tonight's episode of Game of Thrones. So I will see you guys for that. Okay, bye.